And right on, we're back. I've got a fresh cup of coffee and the moon rocket is fueled up and ready to go with the all new fuel ducts. Awesome. First things first, let's test the decouplers on the ground. Boom, that's the contract completed. That was fairly easy. Got some good data. Nice. 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 All of that ready. We have 114,000 credits remaining. Wow, what was so expensive? Well, probably all of the rocket. Let's see how far we can go this time. Launching it, everything is being twisted apart as we're used to. We're lifting up pretty fast, so I'm going to throttle back the liquid fuel engine so that the solids can take the brunt of the atmospheric drag. After all, what's their jiggering here? After all, the solid boosters have the lowest specific impulse of them all, so we want to burn that fuel the quickest because it's the most of a ways to lift low efficiency fuel. I mean, we are lifting fuel here as well, but this engine is the most efficient engine we're bringing along, so that makes sense to save it till the end. Not so with the solid boosters. That's also why you never see a rocket with a big liquid core and a solid upper stage. Now, I'm sure it has happened at some point in history, but generally speaking, you don't see that sort of thing. Right, 100 meters per second, 5 kilometers of altitude, we're going more or less straight up, and, well, so far we're not at the moon yet. Hello, Charler Saru in chat saying hello. We're checking out 0.24, the new KSP update. And if you look in the top right, we have here our funds, 114 grand remaining. We launched one of these things, but decided halfway through the launch that it wasn't actually going to make it to the moon. And we went back to the drawing board and added just these fuel ducts, nothing else. We are doing a contract to, well, explore the moon. Basically, that's it. And we're just on our way. The solids have been ditched, and we are now working on a fairly basic staged lunar rocket. I mean, this central core is our workhorse. These outer boosters are feeding into it. When they expire, the plan is to have this thing finalize our orbit around Kerbin, do the lunar insertion, and do most of the deceleration burn for the lander on top here that can then set down Jebediah on the surface and return home after that. Could be a tall order, might not be. We'll see how it goes. We have some science. We have 4 goo canisters, 2 meant for near and far Kerbin space, and the same idea for the lunar space. And a materials bay also meant for the lunar space. We're not going to land them because we want to spend every ounce of fuel getting back, not lifting these experiments back. Of course, Jebediah will take the results into the capsule for final analysis back on Earth, back on Kerbin, rather than transmitting them home in some sort of... rather than taking them home in some sort of transmitted data stream. We don't do that around here. Right, so here we are, getting nice progression towards orbit. We're about 1300 meters per second, and we should ditch our outer boosters. There they go, nicely rocketed away by the Separatrons. And now we'll see how well this upper stage functions. It's not as quick, the thrust to weight ratio is definitely not there. But then again, we do have in our trajectory some time. We're at 135 kilometers apoapsis. We have some time to accelerate all the way to orbital velocity. Then of course we need to do a lunar insertion burn, and this is looking frighteningly small to me, but I've been playing most of my games in the recent past in the real solar system mod, where the delta V requirements of pretty much every maneuver are a lot higher. So perhaps I am overestimating the current difficulty. I hope not, but well, I hope I am. I hope we'll make it, because obviously if we lose Jebediah, that will hurt our space program in the form of a reputation loss. Also, if we don't fulfill the contract, we are starting to look at a... well, we should be able to build another rocket, we should be able to build another big rocket, but, well, we want to get rich here, not scrape by. Yeah. Right, so we're at 180 kilometers apoapsis. I think it's safe to say that orbit is pretty much assured. Let's see if we can go to the moon straight from here. Wow, I don't think I've ever used a maneuver node to get to the moon. Is that snobbish? Not sure. I'm just going to go to apoapsis, burn to circularize, and then I will do the tried and trusted trick of burning once the moon rises over Kerbin's horizon. This was figured out way back in the day, the 0.11 days, I think, when the moon was first added. People were saying you could never make a rendezvous with it without doing horrible math and stuff, and turned out there was actually a fairly easy trick, basically just burning when it rises over the horizon. Of course, this was in the day when the game was a fair amount more basic. You couldn't set something as a target. Hell, you didn't even get maneuver. You didn't even get patched connects. The game wouldn't tell you if you were going to encounter another celestial body. It would just sort of happen. Also, maneuver nodes didn't exist, and well, real men were real men. They were hairy. Women were women, and children were children. Infinities were infinite, and well, back in the past everything was better, is what I'm trying to say. Except not really. Why are we not in orbit yet? Come on. Stop pussyfooting around, fire that engine, get the periapsis over 70. There we go, orbit established. And then for the trick. The most important trick, at least it's a somewhat important trick. We will time warp until we see the moon. Are we seeing the moon yet? Yes, there it is. Now we can just point prograde, fire the engine, and make our insertion burn. If I recall correctly, it's about 900 meters per second. So we will start looking at the map view at about 2800 meters per second of orbital velocity. And then we'll just inch our way forward, not using maneuver nodes like a boss. Or something like that. Then we will time warp, do science in high Kerbal space, and proceed to our lunar adventure. So far this stage is doing everything we've asked from it. I hope it will also suffice to do the Moonar stuff, because this thing, it will do it, but it would rather have some delta V left over. Look, here we are, pushing out our orbit towards lunar heights. We'll throttle back a little bit just to make that transition more gradual. The closest approach is starting to happen. And now we'll just inch forward until our periapsis around the moon is really, really low. And that's how you do a lunar insertion. 20 kilometers seems low enough, and then we can just from there decelerate and land. Seems fair, I think. We have a smidgen of fuel remaining. Try an EVA report here just to see if there is anything we haven't seen before. No, it's still grasslands, nothing new. There are many biomes on the planet, including the polar regions, the rivers, the highlands, the tundra, badlands, all that stuff, shores even. We're not going to try too hard to find these. There's also lots of biomes on the moon. And well, it's one of my least favorite parts of the game is hunting for biomes through going on EVA. So, you know what, don't do it. We are approaching the lunar sphere of influence, and yeah, I say lunar, it should be moonar in the game, because the moon is actually called the moon. Shoot me, I call it the lunar sphere. 10 science from the goo observation. Let's do crew report high over Kerbin. Jebediah is now the farthest away astronaut. Well, he already was, because there haven't been any other astronauts, but you know, that stuff counts for something. I didn't bring any batteries. That well, that hampers any transmission efforts. Then again, batteries cost money, so yeah. Keep the EVA report. We shall transmit that as soon as we are doing a burn, because now that would be kind of pointless. Right, let's time warp more. Get into the lunar sphere of influence. After this mission, I'm going to take a longer break just to do some stuff around the house. Might return to streaming later this afternoon, but that really depends on how the rest of the day progresses, really. Cool. Are we high over the moon or did I time warp too much? Yes, high over the moon still. This one we'll save for low. And of course a crew report as well. High over the moon, keep the data there. And an EVA report high over the moon as well. Wow, we're doing so well on the science. Take the data and store them again. It seems as though there is like an extra take and store thingy, but I don't know about that. Wait, can we get back into the capsule, please? Oh, it was floating away. Right. All the experiments are stored. That means let's use a maneuver node now. Oh. Wow, that's a really small capture burn actually. Nice. That's the one thing that's for sure. I was definitely overestimating the difficulty of landing on the moon. I think this node will happen in 32 minutes. And look at that moon. It's actually pretty moon. Okay, time warp. Enough with the words. Let's just do it. Speak with the words of Richard Branson. Or was it Warren Buffett? I think it was Richard Branson. He just says, fuck it, let's do it. Or that was the title of one of his books. I don't know. He does sexual innuendo a lot. It's his thing, apart from being a billionaire. Cool. At the moon. Let's take a sample here. Another 30 science points. Let's take a sample here. Another 75 science points. That's wonderful. Do a crew report. That's nice. And let's do an EVA report while this rotation is happening. That's also nice. Let's climb back into the capsule and actually do our capture burn. And with that engine firing, we can send some of these reports home. Oh, we actually can't. Because the engine isn't firing anymore. Oh shit. Well, we are in orbit. We are in a captured orbit. We just need to fire the engine more to do this, to transmit the science. Oh shit. Is this lost otherwise? I hope not. I hope not. But I also want to land in the daytime. So I'm going to zip around and actually going to try a few EVA reports, because same as with the Earth, there's different biomes here that gives you quite a stupendous amount of science if you get them all. But it's quite tedious to get them all, so we're just going to do a few checks. And then we're going to have to do a prolonged engine burn somehow to... Oh, this is space high over the moon again. Oh yeah, this is actually fairly high. We're going to have to do a prolonged engine burn somehow to allow these transmissions to finish. So let's go on EVA, get some more science. It's again high over the moon. That's fine. Override that. And we'll turn the rocket around and just dry up this this engine. Oh, there's no electric charge, so it won't turn. That's a problem. Fortunately, this engine can be used as a steering method. It doesn't generate too much while firing this slowly. I hope I didn't completely jam the whole system with these transmissions. I should have packed a few batteries maybe. You know, wouldn't have hurt so much. Cool. Okay, let's fire that harder. Look, there we go. Some transmissions happening. Wonderful. Go on. We'll save the rest. No need to transmit anything else. Don't worry. Okay, that's still not transmitted. But we are going down. Well, we can just stop. I mean, that's not the most efficient way to do it, but... Well, we need the power, so... Not enough electric charge. What the hell, not enough electric charge? Oh, again, not enough electric charge? Alright then. Alright, let's... well, before we're going to proceed to land, I mean, we are now... Look, we completed some of our science. Orbit around the moon complete. Nice, nice, nice. Before we're going to land, we need to collect some data from these things to take them home. So Jebediah once again has to go on EVA to collect the science from these canisters. Go on, collect the data. Right on. And another EVA report. Oh, we have this already. But it doesn't matter, because maybe some of the info got lost in the transmission. That's exceedingly possible. Oh look, we're at a little bit. We have a little bit more speed already, because you know we are now falling towards the surface of the moon. Nice. There's some speed. Can we do another EVA report from this specific biome? Highlands, yeah, keep that. And start burning. We just need an excuse to generate some power. We do need some power in the batteries as well for the SAS, otherwise we won't be able to steer with the upper stage. Come on. Alright, the transmitting is done. We are now generating power for the SAS module. Okay, most inefficient landing ever, but hey, there is some power. Ooh, that may have been overcooking it a bit. Oh, we're still at 29 kilometers. It's still fairly high. Okay, this stage has now been spent. We shall use it as a determinant for the altitude we face here. It goes. These science results, we don't have to grieve for them. They are in the capsule. We can start with deploying the landing legs. We have power for our SAS module. That is a wonderful thing indeed. Let's see what's our thrust to weight ratio on this thing. Let's reduce this speed. Oh, it's actually really good. Let's reduce the speed to 100 meters per second. And do some time warping. See. Our impactor is now 6 kilometers below us. That will serve to demonstrate the altitude. Oh, it's 7 kilometers below us, so the altitude is at about 3 to 4 kilometers proper height. So let's decelerate to about 100 meters per second. And that would mean we have about 3 more kilometers to go. It's about 30 seconds at this speed, which we want to reduce a bit, obviously. Report? Oh, we already had that. Wonderful. Think it's going well? I think it's going well. Look at that, we're landing over that alien landscape. Is the urban in sight? It's not. We're landing on the slope of a fairly big crater. We're also still going pretty fast, 70 meters per second. But our rocket takes good care of that. Makes short work of that. El Bristow top tip in the chat. Oh, never try and land on your transfer stage. Detach and use your lander. Well, we're utilizing that wisdom today. We can count our blessings that such experienced wisdom is with us. It's almost as good as Jebediah himself, really. Look at that, we can use our shadow as a landing aid. This is a nice luxury of landing on the daytime side. landing in the daytime. Of course, that's not strictly linked to a side. Let's see, we are landing on a slope, so we have to be somewhat slow about that. But there we go. Using the reaction wheels, which I'm very happy that they have power in them. It doesn't look as though we... Actually, we might tip over as soon as this reaction wheel is depleted. It's slowly depleting though, so we can quickly do our things. Take the crew report. If we transmit that, we might die, so don't transmit that. Take an EVA report. Oh. Hello, Jebediah. EVA report from the moon's highlands. Nice. Plant the flag. Of course, this is the first real flag-worthy moment. We'll call this Jeb's Slope. Sure, with the caps reversed. And it is a bit precarious because we are in a big rush. Because if this... we want the surface sample, yeah. We are in a big rush because we have to get back into the rocket before the battery of the reaction wheel drains. If that drains, it just might topple over and we're not going to go home. So inside we have a crew report, we have a surface sample, we have a fuck ton of data. Yeah, that's good. That's... yeah, it's fairly steep incline this. There's Kerbin, we have to go there. And we can just pretty much launch in a 90-degree heading. We are... that's a benefit of landing equatorial. Right, so let's say goodbye to this horrific slope. And off we go. Retracting the landing legs. Using the last bits of power for the SAS for ease of flight. Buzzing the crater rim and going home. By pointing at it. Just because it so happens to work out that way now. Oh, I've never actually had it that rule of thumb works in reverse, where you just kind of point at Kerbin and go home that way. It's nice that it works out like that. Because, let me tell you, it does. Need a bit more speed. This is the most efficient. I could have, of course, have reasoned that out when landing, but this is the most efficient return course because we are just going straight, not even establishing orbit around the moon, just straight into Kerbin's atmosphere. Let's see. Actually, no, it's not the most efficient because that would have meant I had done this escape burn a little bit more over here. Now, Bristow in chat advising me to turn off the SAS now so I can maneuver later. That's a good piece of advice, but hopefully not needed so much because we are going to put our trajectory into the atmosphere. Ooh, this is a fairly steep lithobraking trajectory. Lithobraking, how do you pronounce that? No idea. But yeah, we're on a homewards bound trajectory from here. 17 kilometers over the lunar surface. Pretty good if you ask me. That means we can just time warp on home, cash in everything. No, we already did cash in because the payout is immediate. And, well, then we can utilize our science to go to new and improved, better places and be amazing. Yes. With 166 grand again, we'll get some for recovering the vessel. That means we will have... We won't have made a big profit or anything. We'll just kind of have done it. But of course we'll have the prestige, the science and all that good stuff. We have some fuel remaining for a soft landing here. But first we're going to face some horrendous G-forces. Hello Jebediah, enjoy G-forces. Terra braking, that's a nice one. Hell in chat again, commenting on my use of litho braking. It's terra braking, I like that. And that can be misinterpreted by the pilots as to mean terror braking, which, well, it's rapidly becoming because he's now approaching 10 Gs. Go for an EVA report of shock heating? Don't think so. This is actually fairly survivable. I was expecting 30 plus G-forces, but let's see, the max here is 8.4. That's actually reasonable. It's a fairly realistic number even. That's what astronauts regularly endure. So yeah, no worries there. It's, well, from here on out, it's a fairly bog standard landing. Of course, I do have to make sure that the parachute deploys. And then I can use the engine to do a second landing here in the ocean, which is somewhat counterintuitively one of the best places to land, one of the worst places to land on Kerbin. In real life, the water landing is safer, more easy, more reliable than a land landing, but not so in the Kerbal Space Program, just because the way things are simulated. The water applies a force to the part, but doesn't directly slow it down. It only slows it down through impact. So the impactor force gets applied to every subsequent part that enters the water line, and that is liable to, well, kill a part dead. Not sure if that made any sense, but that's possibly because it really doesn't make any sense. It's just a quick and dirty way of simulating water, which in the end, at the end of the day, is a perfectly fine way of doing it in a game that's about space, not so much about water. Right, I would like my parachute to deploy now. Wonderful. And now we can time warp until the water line, and then we shall use the engine to cushion our impact, hopefully. Well, let's call it a landing, let's not call it an impact, so that we can recover our fuel tank as well. I wonder how much credits we're going to get from a water recovery rather far away from the KSC. But the landing worked. That means we can now do a crew report. No. Yeah, we could do a crew report, but we are going to do an oh no! Jebediah! Surface sample from the water. EVA report from the water. Get back in the capsule. I want to recover you with the ship, please. Ah, damn it. Do we have to get him separately now? Damn it, that's annoying. Oh yes. Go on. Enter the capsule. Nice one. Alright, recover the vessel. Here we go, let's see what we got. Lots of things, hopefully. Lots and lots of things. We get all the science. 433 science has been earned on this mission, and we transmitted about 110 of that. That was a harrowing thing to do, that transmitting. Parts we recovered, we got 78.4% at 420 kilometers from the KSC. It's still a decent chunk of refunds. Oh, we're so rich actually. How did it not say? Oh, because we got the data back from the surface. That's an extra contract completion bonus. Awesome. And Jebediah is racking up the reputation. Of course he is. Oh right, this is the full completion bonus, 105,000 funds. And yeah, so we're super rich now. Awesome. Let's have a look here. Plant, oh no! Plant a flag on the moon? We did that! We just did that! Damn. Also, it doesn't give us that much cash. Science data from space around Kerbin. Transmit or recover scientific data from space around Kerbin. Yeah, sure, we'll do that. We're gonna rescue the Kerbal. Lodball? I thought it had a different name. Okay, we're gonna save Lodball. I mean, that's just horrible that he's lost like that. We're gonna save Lodball. Boom. And what can we do? Ooh, explore Duna. That will give us lots of money. But first, let's get Lodball. test the mainsail. We have to test this at... We have to activate the part at 60,000 kilometers. That's crazy because the mainsail is used to lift stuff there. Okay, not now. We need to do stuff that we can do around the mission of rescuing Lot Ball. We can do this for sure. Radial mount parachute. Will we have decelerated to 690 meters per second in this altitude? Well, we'll just have to. Also, this is not a big contract, so we'll try. We'll test the liquid engine. This is too cheap. We don't worry. No, this is for the dedicated R&D mission that we will at some point do. Space around the moon. We're not going there today. Small gear bay. Oh, run the test. Okay. Yeah. So we're going to rescue Lot Ball, get some science data from space around Kerbin, and test the radial mount parachute on the way back. Sounds like a decent mission to me. Let's see what science we can get to aid in that. Okay, and this will be the last mission. Then I'm going to stop streaming and do some useful stuff, although I am enjoying myself tremendously. Right, we need the probe core to make room for Lot Ball. Yeah, search that. And do we need solar panels? Would be nice. Yeah, let's get solar panels and lights. So we're going unmanned. We kind of need that. Radial struts are nice and cheap. Yeah, let's get struts. This is pretty much all we need for this mission, so let's not overcomplicate things and just get this and keep our science points in the bank for a subsequent thing. Do we know what orbit Lot Ball is in? Can we see him in the tracking station? If he is very low, we need a different ship than if he is very high. Lot Ball. Ooh, that's a really easy orbit to get to. That's nice. We can just get a very, very simple ship. Cool. Of course, we need to retain some maneuvering capability to fulfill the parachute criteria. Lot Ball's oddball. So we will have a command pod with no crew in it. We will have a Stay Putnik on top of that. We'll have radial parachutes for the test. And we will have small engine for orbit capability. Sounds simple enough so far. We will also have some batteries to prevent running out of things to do. We'll have solar panels to prevent running out of power to do that with. Cover Stay Putnik with that. Are they expensive? Not really. Also, they're coming back home, so it doesn't really matter so much. We can splurge more on the stuff that's going to land as compared to the stuff that's not. Okay, we need science from orbit. We already did that, but we need it for the contract. So this will have science as well. Right, this is Lot Ball's oddball, the vessel, the escape thing. And then of course we need something to put that in orbit. Let's go 2 of those with 1 of those. 2 of those with 1 of those sounds good. And then do we want boosters? I think we want boosters because they are more cheap. More liquid boosters would probably be better, but these are cheaper. Actually, how much do these are 700 and these are 325. These have 400 fuel, these have 850, so yeah, these are better. We'll have 4 boosters like this with struts, obviously. Struts are cheap, as they should be. Nice. I think this should do it. This ought to do it. communitron, so we can actually transmit the data that the thing is asking us to do. Can put that on the Sputnik. Am I missing anything? This should do it. Easy. It's 17 grand. That's not too expensive. I haven't checked at all whether Lotball's firm is actually paying that much, but I think they ought to. Also, we're getting an astronaut backup because I want to use him after this, of course. Okay, so first boosters that are going on 2x2, then like so. Yeah, that should do it. Right. Let's go. 17 grand, launch the mission. Let's get Lotball. Oh, just a sip of excruciatingly cold coffee. That was horrible. Oh well. Jebediah? No, why is there a Jebediah in here? We need to send up an empty seat. Otherwise Jebediah will go say hi to Lotball and then nothing will happen. Right. Oh, we got 3 reputation. Jebediah goes out to the launch pad, goes back inside, earns 3 reputation. This man is amazing. Except not really. Right on. Let's launch it without crew. We have solar panels, we have a remote core, we have an empty seat for Lotball. Lotball's oddball. Where is he? Where is he? Over there. Set as a target. Let's go get him. Boom. Liftoff is confirmed. We don't have to worry about... Roll back the liquid stage. We don't have to worry about safety because there's no one in here to be safe with. So far I'm liking the mechanic of the funds and the different currencies as they are. Although they don't really add too much to the difficulty of the game because they just give... The game gives you so many funds. Of course this is aimed at newer players that will have to struggle and will have to do multiple launches to do everything. That's why I am glancing with a hopeful eye towards the modding community, that they will make things appropriately super hard, and I'm sure they will. El Bristow saying in chat he bought a Spanish coffee machine with a milk steamer, no more cold coffee for him. But what do you do if you make your coffee and then forget about it? That's when it goes horrible. I mean, my coffee machine's not Spanish, but it makes hot coffee. But then when I leave the cup and talk to the internet while playing Kerbal Space Program, I forget about it and then it goes cold. That's the problem. Right. I'm trying to turn over. It doesn't really work because my rocket has no control, but we are going high, so yeah, things are happening. Ditching the boosters. Oh, that was pretty close thing. Almost shaved off the engine with one of those falling boosters. That would have been fairly ugly. Now what we have to do is just say orbital rendezvous. Can we control Lotball Kerman? I think we have to be able to control him, otherwise it will be hard to actually take him inside our rocket. I wonder if you then can do a mission like this by just controlling the Kerbal, using his jetpack to re-enter, making him land on his helmet and not die, and then you will have the save a Kerbal contract. Oh no, look at that, you need to get Lotball aboard the vessel. Nice, you can't do that. They thought about that. In the meantime, the chat has discovered the perfect solution to my coffee-borne problems is to just get a new cup of coffee. Which I would do, but then I would have to pause playing the game, so yeah, I don't. Right, so we'll put our apoapsis at the same altitude as Lotball orbits, and then we'll complete a rendezvous from there. We'll actually use a maneuver node for that. Let's see, there is an encounter here. If we do so, are we in orbit? No. See, this is a tricky encounter. If you could look at this, you say, yeah, I'm gonna end up within 5 kilometers of him on the next orbit. but you would have to go through the planets, sort of. Yeah, so my dog is going crazy. I will be back in a bit, so hang on tight.